All right, I believe we're underway, barring any further technical difficulties. So we do have Beaver on the right, Xahrak on the left, and this is the first level of the game. For those of you who don't know, um, it is called Dream World, and it's a very short level, and we can see Xahrak on the left hitting the slope boost here.
All right, I am
It is
back
a
with
very
you.
short level, but this first boost can be very tough, especially in a race setting. And Beaver
Okay,
does get its second try. Are we good? We're all good?
we're all good. I'm just gonna have to do a tiny bit of syncing, so unfortunately, the stream is gonna look a bit weird for a second, but you will still be able to see the gameplay. Unfortunately, while that ad played earlier, it looked like it desynced the stream, which was a bit unfortunate, but nothing we can't handle. So if you can cover the gameplay while I'm doing that, we'll be golden.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. So this is the second level AUP. Very movement-based level. Not many tricks going on. We do have an invisible wall to jump over here, which Derek you can just see before the little bit of delay there. But you do have to jump on the roof of the building and jump over an invisible wall, and then the end trigger is right at the end of the level there. So Beaver did have a little trouble getting up on the roof of the building there, so we're gonna have a little bit of a lead here for Xahrak going in the first four splits of the game of the run. And Xahrak does hit Troll Hole boost first try. That is a very nerve-wracking boost to do. It can be a bit difficult here, especially to hit that in a race for first try. So that's actually really well done by Xahrak. He's playing extremely well to start off the first race here. Beaver's going to have a little bit of catching up to do. But of course, there are still things that can happen during the run.
Oh yeah, anything can
um,
really happen, and we should be up in sync now, so everything you're seeing is real time.
ooh, Beaver got it first try as well. That's actually huge for keeping the gap as close as possible here for Beaver. All right, and they both look like they're on the same level now. So again, pretty close to, because the beginning here with those missed slope boost, a missed slope boost in Dream World and Troll. Dream World's a little different because you can refill the meter by throwing rocks at the enemies, but each one of those boosts wastes about 9 seconds. Especially in Troll, there's really not much you can do to refill your meter.
And big moment from Xahrak, hitting pillar skip there, one of the scarier tricks in this level. But no
Yeah,
problem.
pillar skip is definitely one of the tougher jumps in the run here. It's a very, not only is it a tight jump, but you also have to get your attack out to grab the ledge very quickly, otherwise you just don't reach it. So again, a very cold-blooded strat from Xahrak, but hitting it first try. Xahrak's playing
Absolutely.
really well.
Yeah, and I didn't see any save from Xahrak, am I correct?
I did see him. He did do the drive-by save. He
Oh,
he
he
did
did, okay.
drive-by save. He did, yeah,
Fair
correct.
enough, fair enough. I respect the play, it's always
Yeah.
weighing the risk and reward, and I think that save is pretty much a freebie for anyone going for pillar skip.
Yeah, that save is right. You can hit it with a long jump and mid long jump. You can just grab the save. And then we see Beaver here. He opted out of pillar skip, which again within itself is a very smart strategy. It is RNG dependent because when the rocks fall, determine how fast obviously the pillar breaks. Dependent.
My bad.
No, but yeah, he opts out of it. He didn't lose that much time. The RNG seemed pretty decent, so not too far back as Beaver here.
Yeah. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with how close Beaver has kept it so far. A lot of things can happen in the early game, and when you're someone who hasn't been in the game for a while, just coming back for a race of all things, the pressure's high.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's
look like it's
another
getting
thing.
to him.
Yeah, that's another thing to keep note too. A lot of these runners are coming back to play in this race. Maybe they've taken a little break or they're speedrunning other games. In Beaver's case, he's speedrunning Hogwarts Legacy. So a lot of these runners are kind of, in a sense, almost de-rusting a little bit. But as we can tell right now, Beaver doesn't seem too phased, and this is some high-level gameplay going on right now from both
Definitely.
runners.
And Xahrak, though, that looked like it actually ended up being a very decent overhill time.
Yeah, again,
Yeah,
Xahrak is
clocking in at a 247 overhill time is actually very, very respectable.
Yep, agreed. Anything so for the runners out there, a sub 3 overhill is probably the first marker in that level where you start to understand everything that goes on with that level with pillar skip and the clip and Bean Island jump. So once you hit that sub 3 marker, the runners really get a better understanding of the level, and to be consistent with that is very impressive.
Yeah. And we're going to see if Xahrak is willing to go for Invis minecart here. I'm seeing him hit the save, so I'm going to assume it is his plan. A very interesting strat, if you don't know. There is actually an invisible minecart at the end of this track that you can enter and take it to the other side. Ooh.
Oh, no.
Fortunate that Xahrak saved in this case, missing the jump to get to the minecart track where he was going to eventually find the invisible minecart.
And with that, Beaver is now starting riddles as well, so he's gained a huge chunk of time there.
Yep.
Not too far behind now, so that was a costly mistake from Xahrak. But let's see if he can continue the pace from here.
Ooh, and Xahrak opting to fall back to the normal strat. I respect it.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice. Especially maybe he sees that he's in the lead. He's calculating the risk and doesn't feel like he should go for that strat again, because another death and all of a sudden Beaver's right on his tail. So very respectable decision coming up from Xahrak.
For sure. Now, there isn't too much more that can go wrong in riddles here, but coming up will be flies and spiders, and I think that is a level where you could really start seeing the skill difference between two runners, especially when it comes to just the consistency and being able to perform under pressure.
Yeah, I totally agree. Flies and spiders is one of those levels with a lot of slope boosting, and slope boosting, it can definitely be a tender point for a lot of runners. It takes a lot of consistency and practice to get those slope boosts down. So it's definitely a level where a lot can happen, and there's also parts where you can fall into the void, and a bunch of janky stuff can happen. I don't want to jinx any of the runners, but
yeah. The good thing is most of it is recoverable if you know what you're doing. So if something goes wrong, we're really going to see these runners' knowledge get put to the test.
Exactly.
Xahrak hitting the first slope boost, not as easy as it looks. Probably one of the trickier slope boosts in the run, if I had to say. So that is always very nice to see.
Yeah, totally. That slope boost can be a bane for a lot of runners' existences. There's a few backups for it, but generally that probably, I would agree, is probably the toughest one in the level. And we do have another one coming up here for Xahrak.
Yeah, kind of a slow setup here. Looks like he wasn't actually that ready to use that save. Maybe opting into it last minute because he noticed he still had a lead going. And Beaver is going to be finishing riddles soon here too.
Now with after flies and spiders, we have barrels out of bond. Do you think that maybe Beaver could bring it back in barrels out of bonds? Because we all know barrels out of bonds can be a very annoying trick.
Absolutely, it can be brutal and it can feel a little bit random at times even. But each barrels miss is not necessarily catastrophic. So with Xahrak's current lead, we might see 4 barrels attempts before Beaver has a chance for his first. So I think it'd be tough for it to be a catch-up point, but definitely not impossible.
Yep, and we see Beaver here coming up here on the second slope boost. Opts to take the same save as Xahrak. And for those of you who don't know, if you save while you have your slash meter, it does carry over from the save. So it's kind of like a little time save. Instead of just waiting for your meter to come back, you can reload the save and you'll have a full meter again. So it's just a little quick save if they miss it.
Yep.
Just as a
and Xahrak on barrels here. The hard part being getting in the tree. Not lucky the first time, but the second time gets it.
Oof.
And reaches the end. The last long jump there can actually be a bit scary because it can soft lock you if you mess it up. It's not a hard jump, but I hope the runners are prepared for the cases that might happen.
Agreed. And that was really well done by Xahrak. Second try barrels is very, very good, especially with his current lead. Seems like he's kind of coasting at the moment, so we'll see if Beaver can make up some ground here. Xahrak is opting to take the save here in warm welcome.
Mm-hmm. So Beaver is actually not doing too bad compared to his PB splits, with his Riddles exit being +10 against his PB, and his Flies exit is looking like about a +20, which still isn't too bad. Oh. And of course, Xahrak gets a moment to breathe here as he enters the water. About a 45-second wait. Am I correct on that, Jockey?
Yeah, roughly about 45 seconds. And again, Xahrak here is taking a breather, so all eyes are on Beaver here now. If he can try to locate the enter, this enter can be
there he goes.
very hard to look at, and he's finally got it, and now he's on the barrels, so Beaver here has to get a really good barrels in order to catch up to Xahrak here. So let's see if he can do that.
I will say, though, in the end game, there is still quite a lot that can go wrong. Inside Info has a very tricky skip at the end, which if you die on will definitely set you back a fair amount. Same for Gathering, not quite as long, but still tricky. And in Gathering of the Clouds, sorry.
Oh no!
Oof, falling out of the tree.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
No,
Beaver was up on the tree and then fell. That's heartbreak. That's so heartbreaking to see.
It sure is. It sure is. But in the end, there will still be the Clouds Burst, which can absolutely be a choke fest. With worst case scenarios being soft locks, so definitely hoping that runners are prepared to get a save nearby, just in case.
Yeah, it's never over. Again, like this game is so unforgiving. Like you said, you can soft lock in the last level of the run, so nothing is ever taken for granted here. So we'll see if Xahrak is prepared to deal with that.
Good clip by Xahrak. You're gonna have to see. He'll probably take his time setting this up, if I'm guessing. Looks like it. And that's probably it. Very clean.
And that's very good.
Ooh, it's rough for Beaver. What do you think Beaver needs to do to bring this back? Is there any hope?
So I think currently, as it stands right now, the only thing he can control is him playing well, right? We're kind of at the stage now where Xahrak is going to need a huge mess up in order for Beaver to come back. The gap right now is a little too big where I can't say like if Beaver just plays really good, like way better than Xahrak, and Xahrak makes small movement mistakes. It's kind of at the point now where that's not enough. So Beaver right now has to focus on doing everything for his try to the best of his abilities. And we're just going to have to see something come out from Xahrak that enables Beaver to regain some of this ground that was lost here.
Yep. And here we see Xahrak. I'm interested to see, does he fear the soft lock at all? He did pass up the first save, and he won't get another chance to save until later in the level when he's already passed soft locks. And I do not recall when his last save is, so...
Yeah, this might
playing
be a
with
little
fire
dicey.
a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, if Xahrak were to soft lock here, he would go back. I think it was Flies and Spiders was his last save.
Yeah, that would definitely give Beaver all the chance in the world to catch up. Let's see, Corwin skip here. Missing this could definitely be bad already. But gets it.
And that looks pretty good. Yeah, pretty good coming up from Xahrak here.
Now, I guess if Xahrak isn't planning to go for wall walk, which if he's checking his lead at all, I don't think he will. There really isn't that much risk of soft locking, so the save play makes sense. And yeah, opting not to go for wall walk. Very fair. Very fair.
Yeah, Xahrak taking the safe around. For those of you who don't know, the wall walking section there only saves about 5 to 6 seconds, give or take, depending on how fast you do it.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get up to the wall walking, though, there is a little long jump you have to do on an invisible wall. It's like a slope, kind of, actually. And that long jump can be very inconsistent. So, generally, a very smart play coming out here from Xahrak. If he doesn't need the time to save, then why risk it at all?
Absolutely, and he did get a save just a bit earlier, so I hate to say it, but I think this match is pretty much decided at this point. I'd love to be proven wrong, though.
Yeah, there's very little that can go wrong at this point. Obviously, he can fall into the void at any part here, but Xahrak is a good enough runner where I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, and even if he did, he's got such a lead right now.
Yeah. Beaver does hit inside info though, which again he is doing all he can to bring this back. Beaver is not giving up in this race.
Definitely very impressed by Beaver's performance. It's just unfortunate that he's going up against Xahrak right now.
Yeah. Again, Beaver is playing extremely well, and unfortunately, the heartbreaking fall once he was in the tree.
Xahrak coming up on the end here too, and that's looking like a 14:05. Actually. If we check Xahrak's live feed right here, it was actually a sub 14 in reality. So that's a very good showing for a race. And
especially the first race of the day to get a sub 14, that's an amazing showing coming out from Xahrak.
Yep. As someone who will be competing myself, if I even make it against Xahrak, that is definitely a slight threatening feeling right now.
And can we get an update on Beaver? Is he currently on PB pace by any chance, or
let me have a look for you. He is plus 20 with his PB segment of Cloud's Burst being at 234. So there is a universe where he does PB this, but he'll have to gold his Cloud's Burst by a lot. I'd
Again,
like to see it
Beaver,
for sure.
yeah, Beaver's shown a lot of fight in this race. Even at it would just be so easy to give up for Beaver after he did everything in barrels. He did everything right. He got up in the tree trunk. He got up on the branches. When he was turning to make a jump, he fell. And most runners at that point, that would be just a complete tilting factor. That would you would just like slam your desk at that point.
Oh
But
yeah.
but he's just done everything to bring it back. And I mean, I'm really impressed with how Beaver's playing.
Absolutely. And another thing to note is when looking at Xahrak's time, obviously a sub 14 is impressive, but that's still about a minute and a half slower than his actual PB. While we're looking at Beaver's run right now, he's only 20 seconds behind his PB. So in a relative showing, Beaver is doing amazing.
That's a very good point in terms of their PBs and how they're playing. Beaver, you could argue he's playing better, right? Because like
Yeah,
you said, Xahrak's a minute and a half behind his PB, but Beaver's only 20 seconds. So even with that barrels fall, like that's insane. Like
yeah,
that, it just I'm amazed
absolutely.
by how he's playing right now. It's very
At that
impressive.
point, it's mainly just an unfortunate draw getting Xahrak, who again is a very high level player, currently 4th on the PC NMG leaderboard.
Yeah. But
We're we're gonna see Beaver
I
able to close it out here soon.
yeah, Beaver's coming up here on the end. I just want to say that for someone like Beaver, like obviously he's hasn't played the game in a while. I'm certain the next time a tournament comes around, Beaver is going to show out. I'm very confident with how he's played and composed himself. I'm fully confident that Beaver will bring it home next time.
Absolutely.
So
And
we do have
very little that
information.
can go wrong now. I don't want to curse it because technically you could boost over this little wall right here. It's a rare
Yeah.
occurrence, but can definitely mess you up. And that's Beaver
There we
done
go.
as well. The time,
Sub 17.
yeah, his actual time is a 16:51. Very impressive.
GG.
Only 21 seconds behind his PB.
Great
All right.
run from both runners here.
Absolutely. Let me go and debrief the runners. I'll leave it to you for a second here.
Sure. All right, guys. So that's the match between Beaver and Xahrak. Everyone, GG's in chat. Great, solid run from both runners. Very impressed with how Beaver played. Personally, we do have. I don't know if you guys can hear him. He didn't mute, but anyway, whatchamacallit? So yeah, very impressed with how Beaver and Xahrak both played. Again, Xahrak did come out on top, but as M Karma stated, relative to how each runner was playing against their PB, and you see Beaver here pulling his splits up on stream. Those are 3 consecutive golds after barrels. So if we see